Good evening, my name is Adam Hone. I am from Lawrence Technological University in the Research Methods 5192 class from the summer of 2016. My video presentation will be over Dale Clifford and the folks at Binary Design, specifically looking at the Steel Butterfly project and even more specifically the ways and means that they got to their project and the materiality that came to it. The first research that I did was kind of their grand scheme, what they used to come up with the project as a whole. What I came up with is they used the history of the environment, and they also utilized biomimicry, which is basically taking from nature and utilizing the things that Mother Nature does well and using them in everyday life. For Steel Butterfly specifically, they used a cactus that has, because of the surface area of the needles, it utilizes it's very good at diffusing the heat off of it, and it utilizes the sun and absorbs the heat during the day and disperses it also in the evening. To go back to the history portion, Binary Design looked at the Native American tribes that lived in the desert many years ago and kind of looked at what they were doing at the time to make their buildings. Obviously, they weren't trucking in loads of wood. They were utilizing the materials that were there, more of the mud homes that we're used to when we think of desert dwellings. The next slide, or poster rather, gets into the materiality specifically. Matthew Gindelsparger worked for Binary Design, and he did a significant amount of research into the masonry blocks that they would be using for the project. He used a method of trial and error to go through and find what they kind of figured out was the best or most effective, or more effective. I don't think most in this case is actually the best word, but more effective than the others. So they went through 4 basic prototypes. From 1 to 2, the biggest change was they actually got better at making the blocks themselves. They went from a casting method where the blocks wouldn't even come out to a rubber material in the second prototype that really gave the blocks away after a short curing time. Between 3 and 4, the blocks really changed, as you can see in this area. So between 1 and 2, not much change. Between 2 and 3, they became very much more efficient. And between 3 and 4, they changed the shape to more replicate a common block unit that we're used to in construction. So utilizing trial and error, Matthew Gindelsparger and the team were able to come up with, again, a more efficient block for the summer. The desert heat, it absorbed the sun in the daytime and dispersed it during the nighttime. It actively shaded itself. As you can see, the blue areas here are cool, and those are during the heated months, so that's when the sun is higher. So the block shape here is giving more shade as the sun is higher, and then in the winter months it's coming in at a lower angle and getting into the block itself, so heating it up so that it can disperse the energy better during the nighttime, and therefore decreasing the amount of energy required for the building. The next poster through is kind of the broad brush impact of design and kind of tying everything together. What I came up with is that sustainability, my main research goal, and site and program were all linked together. You couldn't really do one without the other. The program speaks about what you're trying to do in the building. It is usually dictated by the client telling you, hey, I want to build a gymnasium, or I want to build a school, or they're telling you what kind of the broad brush building is going to be used for, and from that you either, based on your knowledge or research, need to figure out what goes in that. Site, perhaps we should have started with site, but site is kind of the where the building is going to go. Anywhere from just, what does the local site look like? What are the topographical lines? What are the hills? What are the wind barriers? Where does the sun hit? And site continues on to what type of material am I going to build with? Similar to how binary design, got the local blocks and built them out of mud. Building in the Arizona desert, you're not going to pull from the redwood forest. It's not logical. It's not good design practice. Yes, people always bring in their Italian marbles and whatnot, but that's kind of a luxury item. I don't agree with it. I think you should always, as I say down at the bottom, build green, buy local. And sustainability obviously is kind of tied into program and site as well. I kind of have a saying I came up with: site, program, and sustainability are only instruments in the orchestra. It isn't until they come together that you can start to hear the symphony. Which I think is a nice little way to remember that you can't have one without the other, and it ties it all in. Alright, thank you very much.